Welcome. Today's video is about a bathroom transformation, like mini reno, nothing like major or anything like that, but a big impact for very little money. So let's get going. So this bathroom here is actually in our basement, and it was really dark and dingy and dated, so we wanted to refresh it but not spend a lot of money, but I still wanted it to look pretty and inviting and clean. So let's get going. Now, the only things that I did replace here are the toilet paper holder, but that's it. And that kind of inspired the rest of the theme of the bathroom. But it was just kind of there and not really like it was used more as storage and whatever. I mean, we used the toilet and we used it in the summertime, but it really it was so dirty looking that I didn't even like feel like cleaning it would work. It has that paneling on half of the wall and tile on the bottom half of the wall. And although, like I said, it's tile, so it's not bad that way, it just looks so dated with that paneling, and the ceiling is paneling as well. And then it had this little shelf which was half paneling, half white with stains. I'm not sure what was going on, so I decided to paint this out as well. It took me a while to think what colors I wanted, and then I set on white for everything, and I thought it would just like make it look really clean, including painting the tile. So I painted the wall and tile just with a really cheap paint from Walmart. I think it might be their brand. I'm not sure. Our local Walmart was closing, so I decided I was gonna stock up on some paint, and I got a big, I think it's a gallon of paint, maybe? I don't know, the big thing of paint for $13, and I used pretty much all of it to paint the tiles on half of the wall and then the paneling. And the electrical, like the switch here, was that almond color that they used to use, which I didn't like either. And you can see the ceiling is these little panels. They're just kind of set there, so I'll be painting those out as well. The tile, I did 2 coats of paint and then like a third rough coat of paint. And then I left this here the same color because I'm sticking tiles on that. And then I'm going to be painting this shelf white as well. And it took me a while to paint all of this. The wood was okay, but in some spots it needed an extra coat. What I actually did was I went and in between the grooves I went with a brush, and then I went over top with a roller. Now for these, I found this cheap can of spray paint from Home Depot. I believe it's $6. So I used those, and I used 3 of them. So that was kind of the priciest thing. I don't know why I wound up using, maybe it was too windy outside, I'm not sure, but it took me a while to get all of this done. That was probably the biggest part of the project, minus the floor. Now I didn't cover them like super white because I wanted it to kind of look a little bit aged because I like that look. After finishing the ceiling, we prepped everything for the floor, but we wanted to have everything done except for the floor. So I continued on with painting the rest of the walls. We also spray painted the vanity light. This was just that silver. It wasn't too bad. It was just a silver, and think that I didn't like it. So I wanted it to be a little bit more farmhouse. So I spray painted it in black, added that toilet paper holder back, put those hangers for the shelf, put the vanity light back, and it looks so much better this color. Prepped this spot here, put everything, kind of organized everything in there. Didn't finish the decoration, but put the towels there because we were still using it. Also painted out the handle in black, as well as the little hook for the towels and the handles for the shelf. Prepped everything, cleaned the floor really well with some water and vinegar so that everything would stick, so that the floor would stick to the tile. And just wanted it really clean to put the tile on. I looked at a bunch of designs. So what I liked about this one, it was 4 different tiles in one. And why this was good was I read some reviews that some of the floor tiles sometimes didn't line up. So if you bought one that was like a 12 by 12 one design, then it would take you more time to try and match them up. And a lot of them were kind of wasted because they didn't line up. So I found that people were giving bad reviews for these tiles. So I thought, well, if I do this design, then it doesn't have to, like, the lines don't need to match up because it's a different type of tile technically on the other side. So I thought this would be perfect, and it would, I know with me, if the lines didn't match up perfectly, I would see it and it would bother me. So this was perfect for me, and I love the pops of blue. I just think it kind of made the bathroom look very kind of like Mediterranean and just, like I said, really clean and nice. So I do really think these floor pops were great. The tricky part for me was because the tile, when they were installed, the tiles when they were the ceramic tiles, I mean, installed, they weren't quite all level. There was a few that were a little bit higher, and the surface wasn't smooth. So I did have to add some glue to some of the tiles just to make them stick. Now I wound up using it was a glue for carpet, like a carpet tape. I wound up using that for some, and then for the ones that, like, it was too much of a height difference, I wound up using Loctite. So what I started first was I kind of lined up the tiles to get the pattern that I wanted. I started it from the center of the room and worked my way out. And then I made the cuts that I needed to for the toilet and around the sink, because it's a pedestal sink. I made just like a little design with a piece of cardboard, and we tried to cut it as best as we could to the edge. I think we did a pretty good job. This is kind of one of those things that you have to play around with because they are tricky, and you buy extra tiles for this reason. Some of you might be experts at cutting this, others may not. Now for the cutting, I just used an X-Acto knife to get it going, and then just some scissors because this was so easy to cut. And then, like I said, I kind of started in the middle and then I worked my way out, making sure that I kept the same pattern. So I didn't swish the tiles around. So make sure you're careful with that. And then my lovely husband did the wall part over here. And that's where we had to add the Loctite as well, just because they're not made, I don't think these tiles were made for vertical installation. So the glue, and between the glue on the back of the tile and the tiles being kind of bumpy, it made it very hard for them to stick. Not all of them, just a few. So for the few stubborn ones, we added that Loctite. Now then, for all of the seams, kind of where the tiles meet the wall, the toilet, the shower, and the pedestal sink, as well as underneath the cabinet, we added some white silicone just to make it look finished. And then my husband replaced this switch to have a white switch. Like I said, looks so much more modern. And then for the mirror, I wound up just painting a border around it. So I thought a lot about this mirror. I was going to put wood around it, then I was going to do a foam board, faux wood border. Then I was going to buy some peel and stick tiles, and then I thought, you know what? I have charcoal black chalk paint, which will go great with all the other pieces, and I can make a faux border around this mirror because it was a little bit damaged, and these mirrors that don't have a frame, they just look so cheap. So I put my painter's tape all around the mirror and to give me a clear straight line, and I painted it with my Rust-Oleum charcoal chalked paint. And I did 3 coats of the paint. I did like a light coat, then I did a fuller coat, and then another coat. And that's all there was to it. Then I wanted to do something with my garbage can. It is blue, but it wasn't the right shade of blue, so I just spray painted it blue. I love this Rust-Oleum spray paint because it sticks to plastic, which is awesome. And then we put it all together. So here is what it all looks like put together. I really love the floor, the toilet paper holder, the shelf holders,
the garbage can. Everything just turned out really nicely. I apologize for the garbage in the garbage can. I forgot to empty it. And like I said, everything looks really nice. All of the spray paints that I used were a matte finish. So if you're looking for a spray paint, just make sure it has a matte finish. And that'll make it be a little bit less shiny. But like I said, I love the way all of this turned out. It just looks so great, including the mirror, which turned out really nicely too. And the white grout looking silicone that we put on just finished off the tiles completely. And the mirror looks really nice. It just looks like a new mirror and very simple, nothing too fancy, but just perfect. Goes really well with everything. And don't mind the Halloween getup. I was having some celebrations with my boys for Halloween. I made that t-shirt, by the way, with that bleach method that everyone's been raving about. And all of these things here I made as well. I still have to make some Kleenex holders. The towels don't match, which is okay by me. They're big, huge towels for the pool, and I want them to be here so that they are accessible even though we're going into winter now. But they are here. Those handles, just those pops of black and white and then that blue, it just all, to me, it all works so nicely together. I'm in love with this bathroom, by the way. I didn't think that it could turn out so good, and it really did, and I'm so happy that it turned out the way it did. And also, if you've never spray painted handles, please do it. I spray painted this handle. It was gold, but it was like that brass, but already scratched up because it was so old. And I spray painted it in the black color, and then I went over top of it with a protective spray, and it's been holding up pretty well. So here it is. I'll just put some music on so you can enjoy the rest of the reveal. Thank you so much for watching, and also don't forget to subscribe and let me know in the comments below what you think of this transformation if you love it as much as I do. Thank you, have a great day, and stay safe.